Now, I don't know if you've seen Inside the Manosphere, and I'm not talking about the manosphere in the cab trade. I'm talking about Louis Theroux's documentary that dropped on Netflix a couple of weeks ago. Now, like a lot of feedback on social media, I thought it was extremely lame. Now, Theroux does what he does best. He gets rare access to these so-called manfluencers, lets them talk, and in doing so exposes the grift, the performative misogyny, and the profit motive. As he calls it, it is highly profitable to be a dick online.
You just have to take the red pill.
This small but influential group sells young men wealth, status and success, whilst at the same time feeding them a steady dose of misogyny. The documentary also shows how this could potentially seep into schools, relationships and wider society.
Fuck the woman! Fuck the woman!
What? No, wait. We love women. We love women.
But not like transgenders.
Yeah, Mark, preach. What have I done?
But let's be honest, in my opinion, the whole manosphere already feels like yesterday's trend, largely kick-started by Andrew Tate. Ironically, he barely features. Apparently, Netflix couldn't afford him.
People often ask me how it feels to be so rich.
Instead, we get a lineup of knockoffs that feel like Temu versions. There's Myron Gaines, whose content mostly consists of shouting misogynistic and anti-Semitic bile at the camera.
I'm the dictator, you are the subordinate. And I dictate when I want to put and then you dictate when the sandwiches come by my dictation. That's how this goes.
HS Tiki-Toki, and I've got to say, I do find him quite funny, even though he's a complete but strip away the live stream and he's basically doing what half of young lads do on a week's holiday to Ibiza. He just happened to monetize it.
Most of you, there's 1% of you that are normal. Most of you are losers, okay? Povo losers, and you hate it. I love rage baiting you. I'm gonna go on Piers on Monday and rage bait you brokies even more.
And then there's Justin Walker, probably the most reasonable, which also makes him the least interesting.
I don't give a fuck, man. Fuck you. Like, I truly don't care.
And then there is Sneeko, who's taken a different route, found Islam, and now spends his entire time lecturing the West on morality, and everyone who isn't a Muslim belongs in some way to the Temple of Satan.
Do you think Satanists are running the world?
Absolutely.
They talk about misinformation on the internet. This is what they're talking about.
But in all of that, he fails to call out the very worst aspects of political Islam, much of which stems from an ideology that is ultra-misogynistic.
Yeah, so? Huh?
So yes, on the surface, this documentary is fine, albeit very lame. Most of this stuff can already be seen online, and there is nothing particularly revealing about it.
People hate on me so hard for that shit, bro. Fuck them. I got a world-class ass.
It's tight.
Where it dramatically falls short is on causation, why the manosphere exists and why it resonates.
All right. I think that's pretty self-explanatory at this point.
It suits Theroux to frame this as deranged individuals, childhood trauma, broken personalities. That's neat. It's safe. It avoids other questions.
Are you purposefully trying to use words that assert your male privilege?
And I say that this grew in part as a reaction to years of cultural messaging that paints men in a very narrow way. Traditional masculinity, toxic, men, the problem, Western patriarchy, responsible for everything that is bad. Now, you can agree or disagree with that framing, but the impact is real. Because when young men feel constantly criticised, dismissed, or reduced to a stereotype, when their issues around loneliness, purpose, and economic pressure are brushed off, they don't just respond with calm, well-balanced nuance. They push back, and sometimes they push back hard.
Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world. Absolutely and utterly wrong. So when they talk about toxic masculinity, they have it completely inversed on its head, completely and utterly wrong. We need to be teaching stoicism. We need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You need to suck it up and perform anyway. Not to sit there and cry your eyes out or blame other people.
And this is the bit that Theroux would never address, because when mainstream discourse repeatedly frames men as the problem, when their struggles are minimised or mocked, you create a vacuum, and into that vacuum step these influencers, offering validation, identity and belonging, even if it is wrapped in something toxic. Theroux condemns the reaction, and rightly so, but completely sidesteps what helped create the conditions for it, because that would mean confronting how parts of the culture that he broadly aligns with, the political left, have contributed to the problem.
Are you getting triggered?
If we really want to solve this problem, we need to hold two ideas at once.
Two things can be true at once.
Yes, call out the misogyny, the hate, the exploitation, but also recognise that some of the grievances driving young men towards this content are absolutely real. Real progress means listening properly, addressing men's issues without accusing them of toxic behaviour, because if you keep demonising regular men, then some of them are going to respond in ways that you really do not like.
Why are women perceived as the weaker sex?
Probably because statistically speaking,
see, if you understand what humor is and how it works, which I'm guessing you don't because you're feminist, then you know that the things that make people laugh often have their roots in very dark subjects. Quote the amazing
actually broke this down. You guys are still humor.
So, if you haven't seen it, watch it. But, like the Manosphere itself, don't take it too seriously.
Funny. It is funny.